All right. Okay. I am going to be tonight's moderator. So thank you everyone for jumping on our crazy cellar state of the wine. We're hoping to really bring these back, especially as we head into Q4. So I'm really excited to team up with two amazing women tonight. I look up to both of them. They're awesome. So we're kind of going to be talking about our top tips of marketing clean crafted wine. I'm Haley. I live in the suburbs of Philadelphia, Haley Erdlen. I have been a consultant for a little over 3 years now. And I'm a mom. I have 3 kids, and I do this business now as really a full-time business. When I first started out, it was really kind of a side hustle. I was transitioning out of an art job. I worked in the art world for over a decade, and kind of came into Scout Cellar and really loved it and shouted it from the rooftops. So here I am 3 years later. So I'll pass it on to Caroline.
Hi, I am Caroline Smith, and I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I just had my third anniversary with Scout Cellar on August 18th. So it has been an amazing journey from day one for me. I have 3 children. They are 5, 11, and 14. So always in the thick of things, but I've definitely taken the Scout and Cellar world to be a part of my family, a part of my job, a part of everything that I do in my life. So I've marketed a lot of wine as we have on this call, and it's been exciting from day one to the many years that are going to come ahead of us. So it's been great. So we're here to give you a few tips. We're excited about that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm Kathy Jacobson, Houston, Texas. I have 2 kids as well. I started November of 17, and I love the wine. I love the business. I love most of all my team. That's just the best part. All of ours unexpected joy out of this that we never thought. But yeah, I'm really excited for this too, because while yes, I do have 250 or whatever, or a little more, but I'm excited to hear Miss Smith here and hear from her as well. So I always love hearing and getting inspired by other people. Because, you know, as we all do, we go in our little slumps and our ups and downs, and that's just life. And, you know, summer's hard when your kids aren't in school or whatever. And so summer was a little bit of a slump. And so I'm excited to get going.
I'm ready for us to get back and on track for Q4. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Woohoo! Okay, so if you have any questions for us, please put them in the chat. And Kathy had mentioned this in the beginning, but if we may answer your questions, so maybe hold off for the next, you know, we're going to try to keep this short. We know people have a lot going on, back to school. I'm still in summer mode here, but we're going to try to keep this to like a 30-minute minimum, but we are going to answer questions at the end. So please put your questions in if you have any. And we're going to start. We kind of are like have this broken up into chunks. And obviously, you know, the 3 of us combined have marketed a lot of wine over the last couple of years. And it's kind of going to go back to sort of when we first started our business. It's obviously fluctuates and it changes kind of now because we're leading a lot still, but hopefully these are going to be some great nuggets for you guys. So let's start. Okay. And if you want to put in the chat what you're drinking, we love that too. So, how do you get customers? What was it that you did in those first few months as a consultant? And Kathy is going to kick that off for us.
Yeah. Okay. So I did a lot of tastings. And I mean, I probably did 2 or 3 a week. And I just started from day one, you know, when my kids would go to bed at, 8 o'clock, I would work on the computer. I'm a night owl, and I would work on the computer till midnight. I still do that. And I would email people, if it's too late, just email people, whether if they were a realtor, if they sold anything and they might do shopping events at their house or their friend's house. I was like, I would love to be invited. I'm going to try and coordinate some too. I'll let you know about them. And so I would try and, make it not just asking them to take care of me, but I'll let you know about things. Are you still selling whatever, or, and kind of checking in with people that I thought sold things, that might have shopping events at their house. I would check in with people, just everyone. I just started going through my phone, and I would kind of send people messages like, hey, I would love to do a wine tasting for your book club or your couples night. Let me know, if I didn't think they sold anything too, I'd kind of just go more. And I would try and reach out to them to do tastings for them. What I haven't done as much of, I've done a little bit of, but I'm really hoping to do more of, is really kind of reaching out to businesses and really focusing on like trying to do business tastings. And I've done a little bit, but I really want to dive into that more this fall, especially with holidays and holiday gifting. I would talk to anyone that owned a business and see if I could do an after hours tasting at their boutique, for their VIP customers. I would, the realtors, I was like, if you want to do a special thing for your top customers, or you want to gift things to your, an anniversary gift, because people buy houses like every 4 years is kind of the average. So if you're giving them 3 little anniversary gifts, on that 4th one, they're going to keep remembering you, that person that gave them wine every year. And on that 4th year, when they're looking to buy another house or move or whatever, upgrade, they're going to remember you. And so I spent lots and lots of time trying to get tastings, trying to network, doing all those things, emailing, talking to people wherever, everywhere, on the beach. One of my favorite consultants, Erica, met at the beach. Our kids started playing together, and it was so funny because I kind of told myself in my head, I was like, I'm going to take a break. I'm not going to talk about Scout Cellar today, so I'm just going to take a break. And then she's like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, let me tell you. And she signed up that night. I loved her story. And so I just love talking to people. And a little quick side note in here too. I have a consultant. She'd signed up, I think almost a year ago, and it was COVID. She just had her first tasting last night, and in 24 hours, she signed up her 3 people for $129. And so if you haven't yet done all 3 or any of them, or just one of them or whatever, you can do it. You can totally do it. And so actually 2 of them weren't even at the tasting. Only one of them was. So she just, she might've invited them and they couldn't come, but anyways. So you just always talking about it and being excited about it, because we're so lucky to be in a fun industry and something that's healthy and better for us and all that. Okay. I got off track. So
what do you have to add, Caroline? What do you
I just love that, because Kathy is doing what I do a lot of too. And I think that's living it out loud. Whatever is authentic to you, however that looks to you, it's great, because we have to we've been on all the opportunity calls. And so now we have the opportunity. If you're on this call, you've signed up to be a consultant. So we've got to take advantage of that opportunity, which is a huge one. So we have to have a level of confidence of what this company is doing in the industry, what the wine's doing for our bodies, what we're doing for the planet, what we're doing in the community, and how we're building our business. So, and that's confidence is going to come with you living it out loud, with you definitely trying the wine. So if you're a consultant on this call and you haven't tried the wine, you got to kind of do that, because you will definitely feel the difference of our wines versus other ones. And then you'll feel proud about what you're doing about marketing and sharing the story to other people. But I think the first thing to start off with for any new consultant, or whether you've been here for 3 years, 4 years, started at $249, $129, or $99, is to know that the opportunity that you have is huge and the investment is very little. So it is up to us. We all write our own stories. Kathy writes hers, Haley writes hers, Marley writes hers. Every consultant has their own story, but we can all help each other out, find out what's organic to us, and then bring in the tidbits from other people. So for me, getting the customers at the beginning is very similar to Kathy. You got to get out there one way or the other, whether it's doing 2 tastings a month or 2 in a week. Anybody that doesn't have a customer base, I really strongly recommend you get 2 tastings a month. Okay. And don't overthink it. It can be in your workout clothes. It can be at a brunch where you bring a few glasses of wine. It doesn't have to be a formal tasting where you have all the tasting cards and somebody's ringing a bell. I mean, you're talking about it. It can be whatever arena that you feel comfortable in. It's about having that confidence, taking a step out of your comfort zone every single day in those first couple of months to really get your customer base, which is huge. So.
Yeah, and just to kind of wrap this part up, I agree with all of that. When I first started as a consultant, I really hit the ground. I was aggressive. I probably did 4 to 6 tastings a month. And this was obviously pre-COVID. And I was an open book. I was really, as long as they were fit our policy and procedures and it was okay, I was there. But there were other times where I would have a tasting with a neighbor, and another neighbor, and it was super last minute, informal, let me share some wines with you. And 2 of them actually are my Scout Circle clubs now. So you never know what opportunity is there. I mean, I have at the grocery store talking to people, Whole Foods, they're buying organic produce. Well, hey, I see you have some wine in there. Oh, do you know kind of the difference between clean? It's just also about educating people. I'm not a sommelier, and I say that all the time, but I do love this wine and I believe in this company and what we're doing for the planet and for the farmers that we support. So, yeah, with them, just get out there. If you're not into tastings, which that, is okay, you've got to find other ways. Join a networking group, right? Find a women's networking group, join your local BNI, Business Network International. That was the first thing I did when I signed up, was I joined this networking group. It is a group with 70 plus professionals of all different professions, trades guys, and that tripled my business. And then I wasn't bothering my friends and my family, and I was really getting out there and getting tastings with people and getting in front of businesses. And then that links you into corporate gifting, the holidays. You got to be creative and don't be afraid, because it's wine, right? It's wine.
It's wine. And one, Haley, a good point about this is about our demographics. I mean, it's an $88 billion industry. It's not like skincare or a lot of the vitamin world, supplement world. I mean, we can adhere to any Republican, Democrat, vax, anti-vax. If you're 21 and older and you enjoy drinking wine, we got you. And we definitely got you if you want another version of wine. So we have a huge market. I mean, it's like nothing I've ever seen. So yeah, whatever you want to do with the business, whether it's as a personal shopper or whether it's as, a hobby or something similar to us, because we are definitely, we have hustled big time to hit these numbers. It's there for you, and it's very possible to get these customers and to keep your customers and to be confident about what you're talking about every day in your business. So.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, it does. Yeah. People are saying men and women. I mean, that's the beauty of what we do, is it's such a wide demographic. I love it. I love it. We are not like it's beauty where you're pigeonholed. Anyhow. All right. We're going to move on to the next one. Okay. So we targeted, how do you get your customers? Again, if you have more questions to this, put them in the chat. We will answer them. But now we're kind of going to switch gears and talk about, closing the sale, right? So you're at a tasting. It's great. It's 12 women. They're like, I love the wine. I love the wine. They're drinking it all up. But at the end, there's order forms and you're kind of like crickets, what's happening here? Woo, 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 right? So how do you close that sale? And also, when you're at a tasting, whether it's in person or virtual, how are you going to book that next tasting? How can you get someone who's there, who's a guest, to say, oh, this is a great idea. I want to do this. Great. Let's do it. Here, let me get your contact information. Right. So I'm going to start this one off because I love this. And, even since COVID, I've done a lot of virtual tastings. I can tell you this, QR codes I know have been out there. We've put them out there on the Crazy Cellar. They don't work. I'm just telling you. When you are at a tasting, what I do is I put my tasting, I actually have it right here. I've got my order form. right? And it is on a clipboard. And I literally hand this out to people at a tasting. Here you go. Take it, make notes, right? I've got a little sheet that I created that they can write the wines that we're tasting. They can make notes. When people are making notes and writing things and feeling invested, they're more likely to buy, right? So write it. And we go through our whole spiel. And at the end of the tasting, I always say, hey guys, thank you so much. I'm so grateful you were here. I'm here for the next like 20 minutes. Let's get your orders in. I can help you. I can help you fill it out. I can make recommendations. I always have the tasting companion. I actually laminate it. And I'm like, we have a lot more wines. If you're interested, I also always plug Scout Circle, but I make sure that I leave that tasting with orders in my hand. When someone says, oh, I'll go on your website later, they're not going to go on your website, right? They're just not. And with virtual tastings, it's sort of the same, right? And they do actually have to go on your website, but I make sure from my host for virtual tasting to get all the emails of everyone. And I send a follow-up that night. Hey, thanks so much. If you want to place an order, let me know, reach out. And I usually get people who respond or call me the next day and say, hey, great. Like, let's talk to me about what we were drinking. Cause sometimes virtual can be a little bit harder, right? Cause it's here and you're not actually like really seeing the wines. But it's just all about either when you're in person, hey, let's get an order in. You love these wines. I don't feel like I'm harassing people because again, they knew they were coming to a tasting, right? And if people don't want to buy, they won't buy. They'll either leave or they'll just be kind and just walk away. But you can tell those people who are interested in purchasing, right? And you can also get a consultant, right? Always keep your ears out for someone who says, oh my God, I love this wine. How do you do this? This is the best job. You can also, step aside with them and have a conversation. But that's kind of my thing. I think Caroline could maybe talk about maybe the clubs. I know you're great. I have a few clubs, but you're good with having a lot of clubs. If you or Kathy have anything else to add.
One thing I will say, the clubs are,
Unmute.
is it, I'm mute? Or no? Am I muted or?
No, you're good. I can hear you.
I'm so proud of what the company and the winery team has done for our clubs. I mean, you can feel confident about talking about that and saying on some level, each customer should do the club to get these circle exclusives. So I love that. With that being said, sometimes you'll get a dagger eye there in the corner and all they're thinking is auto ship. And we want to close the deal that night if you're at a tasting or a virtual tasting, regardless of whether they do the club or not. Obviously, that's our first point we want to make. It's residual income. But if somebody says they only like Shards or only like Pinot Noirs, let's get them the best Shards and Pinot Noirs we can get them. And then show them how to do the minimal club down the road if that's what works out. But we never want to push something down anybody's throat. We want to get them to order that night, regardless of club or no club. But yes, the clubs are your residual income, and we can actually feel confident that the winery team is going to send us an awesome plethora of good wines because our clubs of, what do we have? How many members, Kathy, do you know? 47? You're on mute.
It was over 40,000 at the beginning of this year. So
that's an insane number. So we are obviously, we're doing something right there. So
we're number 2 in the country. Yeah, for wine clubs by volume.
Well, and something else that I've done, for people who love the wine and they're specific, like Caroline said, they just like Chardonnays, they just like Pinot Noirs, but they want to get it on a monthly basis. They don't want to run out of the wine, right? So I just curate a wine club for them, on a monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly basis. I kind of say, okay, I'm going to pick my favorite Chardonnays and my favorite cabs of a 6 bottle or a case. And that's kind of what I do. I had a customer who got a case a month of Scout Circle and she was getting some wines in there. She was like, I don't really love them. So I kept her on the wine club, a 6 bottle, but then I logged in to her account and then ordered other Scout Circle exclusives that I knew that she liked to complement those 6 bottles. So she was still getting a case a month. But she was, I was I look at myself as a wine concierge. I mean, I really do. That's what I want to order for people. I want people to text me or call me and say, hey, I need a re-up. I want this. Here's my CVV, done. I don't want them to get on and in their account and feel overwhelmed or frustrated or anything. I want to take care of it and make it as easy as possible. And I want to keep them from going to the grocery store or the wine store.
And that's, Haley, that's a huge point, because that's what we're there for, is to make this a seamless, easy process. And if it's the website that bothers them, we 100% do it. I get happy when I get those texts. Put me a case in.
Yep.
And I get happy when I see orders come in where people did it individually. It's a good, happy time. So any orders you can get, you got to get them, and make sure that we are, first and foremost, we're not churning and burning out customers, just throwing things at them. Always take care of these customers, because, you know, there are a lot of things at the beginning, 3 years young, now it's been 3 years, that I wish I had not done, that I would save y'all from, you know, from doing. Now just being a little bit more veteran into the world of Scout Cellar. But one thing is, it is not about that initial sale, and we'll lead into this. It's about how we take care of these customers and keep them as customers, hopefully forever. So,
well, and as soon as the text comes through, hey, I need a case of this and a case of that. I mean, no matter what I'm doing, I mean, unless it's like something really important, I am like, whoop, I'm gonna, whoop, if I'm driving, I'm gonna pull over and I'm just gonna put this in, because again, like, I just want people to know that they're going to get their wine as soon as they send that text. And it's the same with tastings. You know, when I've had consultants who do a tasting and then they don't put the orders in until like the next afternoon. I'm like, no. You do not do that. You either have your laptop at the tasting and you're putting them in, or you go home and you do that night, because that is what, I mean, that to me is my level of customer service. So.
And also too, to that point, I thought about this, Haley, when I was on my run today, about looking back at 3 years ago and what I did. I would stay up and put those orders in.
Yeah, it's like 1 a.m. sometimes.
Well, and I heard a few people say, well, I just, you know, it's been a week. I can't get all those orders in. Are you guys crazy? The quicker they get the wine, the quicker they drink it, the quicker they reorder. You got to always be thinking about this stuff. If we've educated them on the clean crafted movement and they don't have wine, where do you think they're going to go? They're going to go Google P. Diddy or whatever, Ludacris or Cameron Diaz or whoever's got clean wine, and it's going to be in their door like Amazon time. So we have to stay in front of these people all the time, put the orders in quickly. I mean, because my God, there could be a CVV number that's wrong and you're just going to guess it before they can say, oh, I didn't mean to order that. No, you did.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Put those orders in quick, follow up. The minute everybody shuts out of that door, and we'll lead into this in a second, is when the real relationship starts with these customers. So
absolutely. And, you know, you'll see, I mean, you're going to have those repeats, and those are the ones you really nurture. So this is a great transition to our last little nugget that we're going to focus on.
Before we go, I want to share one thing about the QR code. When she was saying no QR code, she's talking about like at the tasting. At the tasting, you want the old school order form. But if you have a business card and you know that you hand out to people wherever and whenever, I mean, yeah, have your QR code. That's an awesome thing to have on your business card. But at tastings, you know, unless someone doesn't want to give you their credit card, then you can like have your iPad or your laptop or whatever, and you can offer to enter it. Or yes, you could, you know, if they want to, you know, you do on their phone right then, you know, of course, but that's not, you're encouraging them with the menu, the hard menu.
And, you know, QR codes really came about with COVID, because, you know, we started being more conscious of paper and touching surfaces. So, you know, we put those out there for people who really don't want to touch order forms. But I have found that when I started doing in-person tastings again, they were good. Now, when I do a virtual tasting, I do have a QR code as my background, but I don't think a lot of people are like going on it. So I just put my website into the chat. It's on a slide deck of a trivia I do. And yeah, so, okay. All right. So the next thing we're going into is maintaining your customers, you know, the follow-up, keeping them. Also, how do you reach your customers? Do you do newsletters? Do you do text? Do you do calls? And Caroline is going to kick us off with this.
Yeah. So in my opinion, the minute that door shuts and the last person walked out of, we're talking about live tastings, to be different on virtual, whatever, then the real relationship starts with these customers. So I want y'all to listen to this, and we definitely have many emails that we can show you, but we've got to stay on the forefront of their mind. They've ordered, and I'm guessing maybe a few haven't, and they're going to be included in on the email that you as a consultant send the next day, thanking them for being there, number one, thanking the host for having the party, number two, and number three, reiterating, because they probably didn't listen, about what we're doing in the industry in the wine industry for customers, the planet, and in general. So how this is a better choice. So I think probably 3 or 4 times in that email, I say, thank you. Thank you. This means so much to me. You're coming out, because we are in a world that's very different. And I do appreciate people getting together and putting themselves out there. So you want to thank people for actually being there, making the order. That also makes maybe the other 3 people feel like maybe they should order too, if they hadn't, because they're going to be on that email, because you're going to get their names, what they want out of the tasting and through that whole event. And that's another thing we'll talk about. That's a kind of a checklist, but you want to make sure you get everybody's names, emails, whether they want to be on a wine club, whether they might want to be part of the business or host a tasting. So those are leads for the next event you're going to have. But once that door shuts, you are now taking care of them. The minute you put the orders in, you let them know the orders have gone out. You let them know that their wine's on the way. And then about a week later, and this is my opinion again, it'd be different for everybody, but I think it's constant staying in front of them. You want to ask how the wine is. Might be a little scared, because what if they say they don't like it? Then you're going to have to deal with the whole thing, but it's still super important. And then I think of everything that we do on a monthly basis. So when are you going to need wine next? I want you to know that I'm now going to take care of your wine needs for the rest of your life, whether that be for a wedding shower, a high school graduation, or for a baby shower. And we're seeing a lot of consultants do huge weddings. Think big. Like, you want to be the person they come to for wine. And that means you've got to stay in front of them all the time, because if you lose out, they're going to go to the grocery store, they're going to go to the liquor store. And now you've educated them about the wine that they could find something similar to. So it just doesn't stop there. So it's constant follow-up, constant thank yous, thank you notes that we're doing, we're starting to do more of, which is hard at the beginning. And it's hard when you're starting a business, but it is imperative if you want to get a certain first customer base, and then start focusing on recruiting, being a leader, and all those things that we want to eventually do, most likely. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would say also add to that, like, I do a monthly newsletter through S'more, Smore. And, I make it like a little personal, because I also think that people are buying the wine because of you, right? I mean, I like to think that people want to support me and know that this is my passion. And, they're not just kind of like, oh, I'm just buying it from some random person. They love to be able to reach out to me and get my recommendations. And so in my newsletter, I always give a tidbit about me. What am I doing this summer? We're traveling. My family just got home from Maine. But yeah, Emily, I'm happy to forward you my newsletters. I make them really fun. I always kind of see what we have going on with the new wines, sales, the birthday. I'm actually going to do one tomorrow to plug one. I always put in there, if you want to book a tasting, if you're interested in joining the business, or if you know anyone interested in joining the business, give me a referral. I will reward you, but that to me is, I always find that when I do send my newsletter, I do get a couple orders. I do. I find the corporate emails are awesome. I love that corporate sending them. I just don't think they have as much of an impact as me sending a monthly newsletter.
So I love that, hearing that from you. And this is why we always learn things. I was doing it once a month through S'more, which I love too. And then I kind of let go of it because I thought there was too many emails, and I actually saw it kind of hinder
Mhm.
my sales. So this is it's always good to brainstorm and talk like this, because I do believe a lot of these people do love us as consultants and our excitement, our energy, what we can bring to the table, which is a lot. It really is. So.
It is. And if you think about it, if you go back to the beginning, when Sarah started this company, that's what she wanted. She wanted this wine to be sold by people and not to be put on shelves. So again, going back to thinking of yourself as the wine concierge. So, it's the newsletter, it's, the text. I mean, with the birthday sale, I looked at everything that was on sale and then kind of looked back at all my customers and what people loved and just started texting them, hey, this is on sale. And they're like, oh yeah. I mean, you really do. You're not bothering people, and if they don't respond to you, then they don't respond to you and you move on. Right. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, oh God, I missed that. Yes. Order we wine, so the newsletter is huge. And Kathy, do you have anything to add? Like out of the box, I mentioned this in the beginning. I do a networking group. Again, join a networking group, guys. Research it in your local city, town. Yes.
The only thing I was going to add, I do similar things, but the only thing I was going to add is like when you're texting someone, if you're doing a text, make it so they can just respond yes. Like, so, you might tell them about the sale or just about reordering and say, can I order you 12 more reds? Can I order you, just so that they can just answer yes. Not kind of more of an open-ended question, like just make it easy for them. Because some of those will do a yes if you ask it that way. Because they're busy too. I mean, when I order stuff from other friends, I don't look at Pure's website and Zaya's website. I mean, I'm just like, the pants you're wearing, order me.
I love that. You're assuming that they want it. And I think that's what a lot of us have to do, assume that they want it. Because I assume everybody that drinks wine wants Scout Cellar wine. I'm like, I cannot get it why you wouldn't want it. So yeah, that's great.
All right, so we have just a little last bit and then we'll open up for questions. We already have some questions, which is awesome. So we'll go through those. If you have any more, please put them in.
Are we gonna talk about virtual or things we're doing different in COVID?
Yeah. So, now with the Delta variant and things are kind of, who knows what's happening, right? It's a crazy world, but, COVID fear. So I've done in-person tastings all summer. It's been amazing. I am doing 2 virtual tastings this weekend, and I do average about 1 virtual tasting a month. And I like to think I've kind of perfected my craft a little bit. I can't say it's perfect, but I do them. I created a wine trivia through Kahoot. So if you're familiar with Kahoot, a lot of schools and teachers use it. But it's a really fun trivia that has a lot of Scout and Cellar knowledge. But trivia virtual tastings are great. You have a time cap. They're going to be less than in person. You are at your home, but you also have challenges with really closing the sale. So I know a question I saw was, how do you get the emails from the virtual tasting? So that's something that I discuss with my host in the very beginning. I'm like, look, I'm so excited to do this with you, but I would really love to have communication with your guests. And if someone's not comfortable with that, you kind of really have to rethink, well, is this worth it for me? Am I going to be on this virtual tasting with however many people? I'm sending this person a 4-bottle tasting set. I'm providing all these tasting sets for these people, and then I don't get contact with them for the follow-up. So you just have to think about that. I also do a lot of nonprofit tastings, both in person and virtual. So what does that mean? So if you have like a local nonprofit in your community and they're great and they have a great following, you can reach out and say, hey, I'd love to do a wine tasting and I'll donate a percentage of the sales back to the organization. And that's a win-win for everyone. I mean, everyone buys wine. I had a really successful one right before COVID shut down. I mean, I think I sold like $3,000 at this one tasting because people wanted to support this school. It was a charter school in Philadelphia, and I donated 20% back to it. I've done a lot of virtual ones that way, reaching out to get people together. Businesses are looking to get their employees or their clients, engaged and together. And you are that engagement. You are that entertainment. You provide that fun for them, something different, educating them. So just think about that, make a list of local businesses or nonprofits that you could partner with, because they'll probably 9 times out of 10 ask you to do it again, right? If it was successful for them. I also, for the tastings, we order these hot sauce bottles. I can put in the chat where it's from. It's a company here in Pennsylvania, but they're 5-ounce hot sauce bottles. And if you order yourself a 4-bottle tasting set, you can create several tastings out of these hot sauce. And then people pick them up from my house, and then everyone gets to try all the different varietals. And it's a really great way for people to try the wines. But if you're doing a virtual tasting, people do not have to drink the wine. They can be drinking whatever it is they have on hand. And maybe you can kind of educate them. Hey, you love that Mayoe Pinot Noir. Why don't you try this Pinot Noir, and talk about the notes and the comparison? So yeah, but I love virtual tastings, and you kind of got to think there because we're going there. So anything to add? Anyone? Oh, yeah, of course, Aaron. Caroline, you have anything to add?
No, I mean, if we're kind of wrapping it up and getting ready for questions, I would just say to anybody that's on this call or hears the recording, is that you guys just have fun. I mean, just have fun with it. Kind of figure out what your groove is. Take these tips, however you want them. I do believe our bread and butter is built upon these tastings because it's a connection between people, and we're sharing wine, and they see your face, they see your excitement. That can be done in a workout room or in a grocery store too, but when you have everybody's attention, it's a pretty cool thing. So, if you're looking to really get these numbers up in marketing, the live tastings are going to do it. And then from there, you cultivate a relationship with these people, and they'll become your friends, and you want to take care of them and all their wine needs. You even want to hear if they don't like the wine. So, that's where the fun comes in to me on the marketing side of wine, is seeing people happy with their events or enjoying a glass of wine at night. And getting the text messages. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm back on the clean crafted wine. I've been out of town and I feel the difference. I mean, that's where you feel validated that we're a company that's awesome. And there's an opportunity, and all we're doing is just sharing a little bit of knowledge. So you don't have to be some big time, selling ice to Eskimos, because, people once said that to me. You could sell ice to Eskimos. I'm like, actually not. 2 out of the 4 jobs that I had in sales and marketing, I was successful in, because I believed in the company. I believed in their leaders. I believed in their values and morals. The other 2 probably had better products, but I didn't believe in their company, their morals, their values, how they did business, or their leaders. So stand proud that you've got something awesome. Also stand proud that you are an individual and you can build this business as big as you want it, meaning you can sell $400,000, $500,000 worth of wine, 250, whatever, or you can just sell 1,000 and you're still sharing this brand, and it's all important. It's huge. So I just encourage y'all to have the confidence about that, and just go with it. So,
well, and one last thing with social media, just so you guys know, Caroline is not super active on social media, and she kills it. So social media is amazing. I love it, but you do not have to have, awesome sales because you're all over social media. It's a great way to remind people, hey, I'm still here, blah, blah, blah. And people, it's tidbits, but.
And I love you say that. It's a torture thing for me, because I know I can do more. And I see y'all are so brilliant. Kathy, you're doing awesome. So many people are doing so great with social media. And I love it. I'm like, I wish I could incorporate that more, and I will. But I'm also not there yet, and I feel like I don't want anybody on these calls to feel like they're less than because they don't do something that they're comparing themselves to other people. Because
can I chime in here real quick, even though this is not at all my call?
Yeah.
So I think though that it's awesome, Caroline, that you said that, because it just goes to show that you can be successful at this and not have to do all the things.
Mhm.
And that's huge because I see so many people quit or shy away from keeping one foot in front of the other because they feel like I could never do it all. I could never do all this stuff. So a lot of us, even at the higher levels, we've been victim of like that comparison stuff that you see on social media. You can be super successful and not even be on social media. Does it help? Is it another avenue to get your word out? Yeah, but you don't have to do it if it's just not serving you.
Yeah.
So good for you for
Yeah.
sticking to what feels good to you.
Well, and that's what I
Hey,
wanted
Erin,
to
I
point
love
out,
you.
you know.
I love you too.
Erin Bosch, she's amazing. She has great nuggets too. And you did say something great, Erin. I love that you put in the chat that you are in BNI?
Other business networking groups.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you do a lot of like corporate tastings and things like that. And you did that last year because a lot of people were not having in-person, holiday parties and such. So,
yeah. And I honestly suspect that we're going to be back there, unfortunately, again, this like fall and winter. So I think it's something to start thinking about possibly now, is going to these businesses and saying, hey, given where we were last year and where we might be this year, you may not be having your big holiday corporate, company gatherings. This is an option, a virtual way to get together, do something fun. I love, like, Haley, you could bring in your wine trivia and make it fun. It doesn't have to be like stuffy.
yeah, I've done
And
it
you
where
can-
I've even made the wine trivia kind of about the business too,
Yeah.
threw that in. So it's more personal. So yeah.
It's fun.
And if you're looking for something kind of in between, you can blend kind of a virtual in-person tasting in two different ways. One is that, I mean, whether you're doing a after yoga workout when y'all are in the, outside, or you're by the pool, you can pre-pour all their samples and give them a little bag or box with their set. So you're not walking around near them in their face pouring if that's not something they want. They kind of pick up their box, they're kind of in their little outside area, and everyone's got their little area, and you don't have to be going around pouring. So that's kind of a way to, if you need something more like that. Also, when we do virtual tastings, and I'll do one with my team sometimes, and they can invite their people. And so sometimes they'll get together with 2 or 3 friends at their house. So she'll pick up 3 samples and they'll be on one Zoom, and the 3 of them will be listening. And other people that want to be just by themselves will pick up just the set for them, and their friend will pick up their set and go home and hop on Zoom, and they're all individual at their house. But the people that are comfortable with it can invite the friends over that are comfortable with it, and their other friends can pick up the set and go back to their house. And so you can do these kind of halfway ones that meet the needs for what different people are comfortable with and at their comfortable level.
Yeah, totally.
The other tip, and then I'm going to get off, I promise, is this is really awesome. If you're a new consultant, especially, and you're really nervous about doing a tasting, do a tasting combined with other consultants. Like, they invite 3 people, you invite 2 people, another consultant has 2 people. There you go. You just split the sales on who you invited. And it makes you feel so much more confident, right, when you're talking with other people. And it also builds our community. Like, it's more fun to do a wine tasting with other wine consultants. It's so much more fun.
Mm-hmm.
And like, the people feel that energy in the room. It also probably helps your chances of them thinking about doing it as a business, because they're looking at you having so much fun doing this with the other consultants. So that's a good way as well to do that.
Yeah, I just saw something today on social media, but it was a good one that was like, be in the wine business with your friends. Like, business is fun with your friends, So my first tasting, I sat around my table with like 6 of my best friends. I had no idea what I was doing, what I was saying, and 3 of them signed up as consultants. So there you go. Okay, we're gonna go to the questions because we're gonna keep this, we don't want to go super long. All right, so the first one we're gonna do, Kathy.
I saw one from Jessica. While you're looking, can I answer one?
Totally.
Jessica was asking about, I'm newer and talking about the wines or being intimidated. How do you know what to talk about? And this is kind of an answer also for people who sometimes you get in a room with someone that knows so much about wine and you feel overwhelmed. I think the biggest thing for me when I'm sharing the wine is whether I know all the details of the story. And yes, that's sometimes great to know. And yes, people love stories, but in the end, like your excitement for the product and your own personal story, or if you don't have one, share Sarah's, how she used to get migraines, whatever, share someone's story about how, you can say, I don't know that much about the wine. I don't know. But what I do know is how I used to wake up in the middle of the night being stuffed up. This is me, and not being able to sleep for an hour in the night because of wine. So I stopped drinking it. And then now I can't, and like your own, whatever your personal story is when you're talking to someone is the biggest thing that matters. So besides, like, I don't know all the details about wine. I just know how great I feel the next day. And really that's all that matters. So,
and the tasting cards are there for this reason. I know Melissa, who, what are you now, Melissa? I don't even know what are you in your W set. You're 2, 3. But the tasting cards are there for a reason. Like, I am not afraid to read off of a tasting card with all the notes and the story about the winery and what the alcohol percentage is and the residual sugar in any of it. I'm not the sommelier, but I do feel that people want to be educated, and those are there for you. So print those out, put them on cardstock in color and make them pretty, let people pick them up and read them.
Or have someone else in the tasting read each one. Then if you're pouring, if you feel overwhelmed, print those cards out, hand them to each person, say, when we get to this wine, you're going to read this one. And then they're going to be quieter. You're going to have a quieter listener group because now they realize, okay, people are talking over you. I don't want them, and they're more appreciative and understanding. And then you can focus more on the pouring if it seems overwhelming or whatnot. Yeah. Sorry, totally. Keep going, Haley.
Well, and just a really quick one, Heather had also asked, how do you make them order without harassing them? And I'm sure this is more specific at tastings. You can really get a read on people. You can feel those people who are not bothered by wanting to order. They're not put off by like, ugh, it's an MLM. Like, you read those people and you get that, so I'm a pretty good judge of character. And I know people who are interested and want to order a lot. So again, I don't ever feel like I'm harassing people. I do feel the only thing I get a little bit maybe, on them about is just not paying for shipping. I hate for anyone to pay for shipping. And I do try to upsell, get 6 bottles, get a case, get the bulk discount, all of that. If they see Scout Circle exclusives, join the wine club. You can cancel it, get the 4 bottle, do quarterly, whatever. But yeah. Let's see what else. How do you take care of them? I think, Caroline, you kind of probably touched on that with how you take care of your customers, right?
Yeah. And I think that's kind of comes down to the individual customer and how you feel like they want to communicate. And I will say one thing at the tastings, I say, is it okay if I email and text you guys about sales, about events, about anything that's going on with the company? Because I do not want to do that if it's not okay. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Then I remind them about that I will be reaching out to them, throughout the course of our relationship that I hope so long with. So I think it's important to ask them that, though.
This is a great question from Jessica. I've had a few customers who have ordered once and not reordered despite follow-up. And even though they've said they love the wine, how do you handle customers who drop off?
It happens. And that's why you got to find more customers. It is a part of the business, and it's a part of every business. It is just, and that's why we don't want to, rest on our laurels of anything in these businesses, whether it be marketing wine or with a team. You've got to constantly be working your business, constantly be talking about it, because whether you turn your best customers into consultants, we're all looking for new customers and new consultants. So it happens, and it's unfortunate because we were confused. Like, we did everything right, but we have no idea what's going on in other people's lives. We don't know if their husband said, don't order any more wine, but yet she's ordering, a few bottles in her Publix bag. And you got to let it go, move on to the next of the million wine drinkers that are out there.
Yeah. And don't spend time dwelling about it and rethinking it. Sometimes you gotta move on, but sometimes in the rare cases, they'll come back. I had a consultant that quit drank crappy wine for a year and came back as a consultant a second time because she was like, I can't stand the hangovers. And then, and this isn't you're just gonna have fall off and you just have to go with it. But if you just kind of still say, well, thank you, I'm so glad you're my customer, I'm always here for you. I had someone that was one of my largest customers at the beginning. I don't know what happened to her for like 2 years, and she just gave me an order. So I was like, oh my gosh, so just every once in a while, I'll just keep in touch, not as frequently as I would a regular customer, but just every once in a while, like let them know when the big sale is, or if you're doing a virtual tasting and you have a couple extra sets, you could drop off to them or whatever. You can kind of keep them on your back burner list.
Yeah. You don't want to be that person. And we're all worried about being that person, and we've all been that person. Be that person for a second. Feel that person that looks down and walks away from you. Okay? That means they at least know that you stand for something and that you're happy about something, excited. Just don't go up to them the next day and they looked away. Just know, be aware. But we're proud to share what we have, and people are going to take it or leave it. And that's, sometimes they'll take it, leave it, and then come back again. So,
yeah,
but there's plenty of people out there.
Yeah, there are. And again, with the wine knowledge, Melissa had put a comment here. If you're interested in learning more about the wine, take the WSET level 1 course. Melissa is a WSET level 2. It's not required or necessary, just a cool course that gives wine basics. So I think that's great. I have tons of emails that I've got photos of your email. I'm going to send you all my most recent s'more newsletter. So get ready to be blown away. Okay. And I can talk, and I can also email you more about the hot sauce, because I really had to think out the box with that one. So it works basically. I don't do more than a tasting than what I would pour at a tasting. So as far as I'm concerned, it's kosher with brand standards. And virtual tastings, you still cannot publicize them on social media. There was kind of a change last fall, just because you're doing virtual, you can't still put them on social media. You still have to be private, by private invitation, that type of thing. What
right,
else?
the next. I want to show, I saw this up here that I want to show this to everybody. It looks like I can't see the question, but
the checklist question?
People want to see your checklist card, Caroline.
Okay, so this is, and we could go into so much, and again, I think it's hard to kind of make this all concise when you're talking about marketing, because there's so many different ways you can market wine. But I think this is imperative when you have a tasting, and this is on Vistaprint, that you find out their contact info and find out what, if you can't see this, and we'll definitely put it out there, but what their goal is, what they're interested in: buying wine, joining the wine club, joining the company, hosting a wine tasting, a friend that might want to join. I mean, you got to get something like this. It doesn't have to necessarily be this. It could be a piece of paper where they say what they want out of it. But this is key in the follow-up too. So.
And you can use that as a checklist, or, Heather had put this in, I do have a checklist, like a sign-up sheet that I do have at tastings, that if people, maybe they're not going to buy the wine, but they want to get information from me. And like Caroline said, she always makes sure to ask. We're not just going to start spamming people. I don't want to be spammy pammy. That's not my gig. But yeah, figure it out, get creative, get a way to get people's contact information, because follow-up is so key. People are busy. They are not going to really reach out to you. Some will, but some most likely won't. So yeah. Any other questions?
I think that's a good wrap up. We can always put more questions in the recording, and answer when we post the recording too.
Yeah. And Caroline, did most people fill out those cards at your tasting?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I laughed at one of them probably a year ago that says none of the above. Y'all have fun with us. Have humor. It's wine. We got some.
Can you post that somehow so we can see?
Yeah, definitely.
And last one: calling, texting, or email. What's your gig? What do you do?
Mine?
Yeah.
My new thing is I'm going to do Paula, my friend Paula out in Colorado, Eaton. She does, and I don't like my voice. I really don't. I'm not a big speaker, to be honest with you guys. That's not what I love, but she's doing these voice talks. So she's doing the recording on the text, and then I'm loving that, even though I don't like my voice, but it's like, it's more personable. I don't have to spend time texting and rechecking my spelling. It's just my voice, my mumbling voice. So it's me. Hey, we got some new wines out there. Hey, you can't believe what's going on with the company right now. Whatever it is, I love that, which is, again, it's us all learning from each other, taking what works for you and feels comfortable for you, and kind of growing your business, and knowing that you can do as much as you want with these marketing dollars as you want. So think big. Like I said, it's as much as you want it to be, it'll be there for you. So we've got the support now that we asked for, and we've got the wine prices that we asked for. We've got everything we need. Always can get better, but just be proud of the company that we are with. So
audio message also disappear.
You got to put, they do disappear?
I think so. I think once you listen to them, they disappear, which I don't know. I'm a texter more than an email, except for my newsletter. But I feel like they do disappear. But I feel like a lot of like people and MLMs do audio. I'm finding that as I collaborate with other people, and it's cool. It's really cool. It's nice to hear their voice,
Yeah.
I think you have a nice voice, Caroline. So.
You do. It's just a little southern, but that's okay. Hey guys, y'all go after Q4, book some tastings, whether it be virtual or whether it be not. Let's go. Let's make it a good end of the birthday month.
Let's close out Q4 with a bang and start selling those holiday sets, and as soon as they release them, hopefully ASAP. Thank you, Erin, for being on. You are amazing as well. And Chris, I know you're there. You're not. We don't get a voice. Okay. And awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys.